What up, y'all? It's your boy Kinshiro. We're back with another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. We hope you're having a fantastic week so far. We're about 3 weeks out from Christmas, and Marvel is blessing us with a whole bunch of trailers. Like, we just got Captain Marvel yesterday. We're supposed to get the Avengers any day now, and we're also supposed to be getting Spider-Man Far From Home. But some of the response from the Captain Marvel trailer has got us, maybe, I don't know, might need to be a little bit worried about this trailer moving forward. But we got that to talk about. We got to talk about the cancellation of Daredevil and some of the implications surrounding that. Also about, you know, is Netflix not just can't be honest, and did Disney have their hands all over this cancellation? But first, let's introduce who's going to be on the show with me today. The great Daidakuji is here. What's up, bro?
Hey everybody, glad to be back and talking nerdy stuff with you.
LGZ is here. How you doing, lady?
Hello everyone.
And last but not least, we got Mr. Fallen Marvel. How you doing, fam?
Bloody marvelous, sir. Bloody marvelous.
You got a little Constantine little thing going on there. That's one of your favorite characters, I hear, right?
Not necessarily. Where do we get Constantine from, fam?
All right, I'm just saying. Wow, this guy. Okay.
Anyway.
Anyway.
The speedster of hope now. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, let's get that right.
We'll see. All right. So I want to say hi out there to to Tony Young, who's watching the show on Facebook. Tag your friends. Share this with everybody. Marcus Smith, hello to you. Let's get ready to have a lot of good times talking about all the stuff in geekdom that we love talking about. First, I'd be remiss if I didn't want to discuss a little bit about that Flash episode that happened last night. The Flash's 100th episode aired, and it was kind of like a retrospective of the Flash, the history of the show. We got to see a lot of, you know, moments that kind of defined the show over the years. But we got a really big surprise twist at the end, which by now, if you haven't heard, a lot of people have already been talking about it. The man that seemingly cannot be killed is back once again, as Eobard Thawne is revealed to be the mysterious benefactor of Nora West Allen. When you found that out, LGZ, last night, what did you think? What was your reaction to that and all the other stuff that happened?
Because I watched the show, I was like a little bit confused, and I know she came back because her dad disappeared, and that had, you know, they've been kind of talking about that since season 1, but I definitely was not thinking that Eobard Thawne was going to be the guy that she was running to, sending messages to. Like, that was totally weird. I was not expecting that, so I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm interested to see how this plays out long term, because, you know, she's, of course, you know, they're going to find out about it. I just need to know when and what's going to happen, because that's going to be like super crazy. And I'm interested, is she coming back to like mess up the timeline, or like what's going on? And then she talked about she invented the Speed Force language. Like, it was just all kind of crazy stuff. I was like, yo, what is going on up in here? I'm interested now. I'm interested to see how this turns out.
Right. Fallen Marvel, what did you think when you? Oh wait, you finished watching the episode in the pre-show, I think. Yeah, so when you saw that, even though, you know, I spoiled it for you yesterday when I made the post on the Culture Junkies website, but what did you think of the twist? Like, even after you saw it?
I mean, I'm intrigued. I'll say that. I was not expecting the twist. I know one of my good friends that watches the show is very happy because Eobard Thawne, Harrison Wells, is like his favorite character ever.
Dude, so Tom Cavanaugh is killing it, dude. And that was the other thing about this episode, is like he played every single iteration of Wells that he has ever done in the show. Like, whether it was the Wells before Eobard Thawne killed him, whether it was the Eobard Thawne Wells, whether it was the Harry Wells from Earth 2, whether it was Sherlock Wells that he is now. I mean, the only one that we didn't get to see was I think HW. I think that was the one that came from that Earth that he wasn't a genius or something like that. No, Was it HG? No, I forget what they called them.
HR.
Yeah, HR. That's what they called them. Yeah, the Muse. Yeah, I really liked the HR character, and that was from season 3 with Savitar. I really liked the HR character. I was sad that he was the one that made that sacrifice, but it made sense. But yeah, I mean, when I saw that episode, it was just like, I cannot believe this girl's working with Vaughn. The one guy, I mean, the one guy you would think
like there might be a reason.
There's got to be, and we'll have to see what it is. There's a lot of really interesting theories that are going on out there that are talking about it. So go and watch those if you want to.
Wait, can I just bring up one more thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil it for because I want everybody to watch the episode, but there is a part in there that made me think. Remember when they went back to Wells being before the particle accelerator and all that kind of stuff? That was Eobard too, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Because for some odd reason, when I first initially started watching, I thought it was like a different version of Wells. And then after the particle accelerator, that's when he became Eobard. But I was like, yo, because last night when they went in there and they went to see Gideon, he was like, he knew that the Flash was there. He was looking like, yo, what's up? Like, I don't know. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's get to the main topic. So the Captain Marvel trailer came out yesterday on Monday Night Football. Or actually, no, 2 nights ago on Monday Night Football. And a lot of people liked the trailer, but honestly, a lot of people are really tepid about this trailer, probably because it didn't show a whole lot, but I think it's more to do with the character herself and probably because a lot of people aren't familiar with her. So I want to pose this question to you guys. So all of you out there in Culture Junkie Nation, what does the tepid response to the trailer mean for this film? Is this film possibly in trouble? What's your take?
No, it's not in trouble. Anybody thinks it's in trouble is retard. Okay, no, I shouldn't use that word. I'm very sorry for those who are. No, I don't think it's in trouble. For those who think that it's in trouble, have some really thinking to do about movie watching in Marvel. Number one, the hype is real because Avengers already set it up for it. I mean, you watch to the extra credits end scene with Samuel L. Jackson and him pressing that friggin' pager. You know it's coming if you were familiar with the logo, and it's not a thing that's unknown now. Everybody knows who he was summoning or what have you. And that's number two. Yeah, the trailers may not look very exciting, but that's okay. And for my reason is I'm just glad that they're not really showing too much, because as you know, some movie companies have a hard time not giving away the whole entire movie, showing all the great parts in the trailer. And this trailer did not show all. It showed a little bit of punching, a little bit of flying, a little bit of explosions, some talking. Apparently Brie Larson, is that her name? She's not doing enough talking in it either. I think Sam had more lines in her this time. Again, all that bullshit that somebody brought up, but regardless of that, I know you guys remember that. Anywho, it's getting you ready. It's like, okay, this movie I think is gonna be good. It's like when you walk into somebody's house and they're cooking some good ass food and whatever, you get that smell. That's what a trailer's supposed to do. You're supposed to be like, oh yeah, that smells good. When you sit down and you start eating and you start, gnawing on that stuff, and holy shit, this is fucking amazing. That's you sitting in the movie theater. I don't need to be force fed any meals until it's ready to be fed, So give me those smells. I'm it's whetting my appetite. There we go.
That's a really interesting food take, and all of a sudden, I think I'm kind of hungry. I might need to go and grab me a snack. So, but LGZ, what did you think of the trailer and kind of the tepid response to the film so far?
I wasn't impressed by the trailer this time. I mean, I wasn't impressed by the first trailer either, but I mean, I don't know. I like the fact, like who you said, like they're like you have to go see it. However, I don't think the trailers are doing their job in making people want to see it. Yes, I read a lot of like people were saying, you know, WTF on the trailer and whatnot. So I just hope that it lives up to the hype. But I just think a lot of people are just kind of not kind of let down by these trailers being so basic. I guess.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think that's a lot of people's main problems with the film. Let's see, Sharita Jackson actually had a good point, saying it's because Captain Marvel is little known, and a lot of people have been saying that they think the actress is really frumpy and she doesn't seem like an action star. So I think a lot of people are not giving Brie Larson a chance to really do that. Sharita also asked the question, are they going to show how she ends up in Rogue? We don't know, and that's actually one thing I think a lot of people do want to see, as like Captain Marvel get absorbed by Rogue. Like what maybe does Rogue serve as a cameo in the second film with Mystique or something like that? I don't know. I think she's beyond a lot of that now. I think her power set is too big for Rogue to absorb, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Fallen Marvel, your take.
For the most part, I did like the trailer. I didn't really, obviously, because I did get the vibe that they were holding a lot back and just saving the meat of it for the actual movie, that I came out of it a little underwhelmed, I would say. I do like how they showed a little bit how she uses her power, even for a little bit. So, because that looked awesome when they actually showed her like going binary and stuff. So I actually thought that was pretty dope. But I think, to me, like, I kind of made this comparison before, and I'm gonna double down on it. Like, I think what it is, aside from the character, is that, at least from a comic book standpoint, it's kind of coming off as a little like Superman Returns ish, as far as the feel of the character, because she's coming off as too powerful a character. You know what I'm saying? So like, it doesn't really feel like you're trying to figure out what the actual stakes of this character is gonna be. Like, I don't really see this character being in a really perilous situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because like as you see from the trailer, she's going around and she's blowing up full-on capital ships, man. It's not like she's blowing up just like little small things. No, she's blowing up capital ships with one blast from her hands. Like, what's gonna actually really mess with her? And that might have been a mistake for them for Marvel to show that in that trailer, to just show up this how incredibly powerful that she actually really is. You know, her flying in space unassisted and all that other kind of stuff. That might have been going a little bit too far, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But you know, a lot of people, even in the chat, are saying that that the trailer itself didn't really do a good enough job of making them really hyped up to see the film. And like I said, does there being this tepid response to the film? I'm like, let's contrast it with the Aquaman trailer, right? The Aquaman trailer that came out, I think it's been 3 weeks now since the Aquaman trailer came out, and how a lot of people got really hyped up for Aquaman. You know, someone that they know a little bit about, but weren't necessarily super excited to see it. But the Aquaman trailer got people really, really excited to go and see the film. Whereas this trailer, the second trailer, didn't really do a good job of making people just say, they want to see it. Yes, we know Marvel has that cachet. Marvel has that cachet, and that comes with it a kind of a like Nintendo seal of quality or something like that. Similar thing where you knew it was going to be good if it has this stamp on it. If it has the Marvel stamp on it, you can say it's probably going to be pretty good. But I don't know. Ant-Man and the Wasp, a lot of people were hoping that was going to end up being, you know, kind of better than it was, and by all accounts, that actually kind of was a little bit of a flop for Marvel in the movie theater. So what do you say to that, Dadakuji?
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure that everybody knows about us on the internet, and that goes for you guys out there. Tweet us and share, please. In regards to what DC is doing, I don't care. I'm sorry, because DC has one good trailer out there, one good movie that looks like it's going to be very interesting. That's good. And that's good for me because I want to go to movies. I want to be enjoyed. It's just, I can't go around comparing trailers. To me, it's just, it doesn't matter if you really know the character or not because it's a Marvel film. And that's just how I look at it right now.
Why does that matter?
Running. Why in the heck would I doubt anything based on a trailer?
Because they're not necessarily infallible. I just told you, Ant-Man and the Wasp did not do good in the movie theaters. So
that they're not infallible, and to the point of what people who have certain standards. Ant-Man and the Wasp was still a pretty good movie, but what I think people were looking for was some kind of Avengers 4, like what do you call it, runoff. Yeah. And I don't think they got that Avengers 4 runoff, and they were disappointed people didn't go see it multiple times because of that, and most of the normies didn't stick around to the end of the film anyway to see the tie-in to Avenger 4, because after 10 years people are still getting up and leaving. But with saying that, the movie was still good, and the trailers to me were just something out there to wet your whistle. You knew you were going to go see it anyway. At least for me it was like that. So it's just kind of hard for me to say this trailer is meh. Did I feel a little bit meh? Yes, but I wanted to feel a little bit meh because when they show too much and you get really excited and then you get into the movie theater and you see those same scenes and then the rest of the movie is meh and the scenes that are exciting were just a trailer, you're like, fuck, why the hell did I watch this movie? So that's just my whole thing. I mean, can Marvel do wrong? In my honest opinion, they haven't done a terrible or bad movie. They've done good movies and they've done excellent movies. And if you want to use a scale to say their good movies are bad and their excellent movies are good, whatever. That's your scale. It's not mine. I enjoyed every single one of them.
Do either of you other two panelists have like a rebuttal to what he's saying, or something to add?
I think for the most part what Dido is saying is pretty much true. Because regardless of how people did feel about Ant-Man and Wasp, but it didn't make X amount of money, the movie still banked money. It's not like it was like a outright flop of a movie, like it lost Disney money. Like the movie, it's like the movie still did fairly well. So it's not like the rumor mill like that, like BVS was, where it cost X amount and didn't make it back and blah blah blah. It's none of that. But I digress. But it's just like he said, like when you get the trailers, the thing is you want to just see enough to put you in, to get your ass in the seat. You don't want to see like a whole plot point. That was one of my issues with I think it was the second trailer, if you can even call it that, for Aquaman, when they basically explained the whole scene, essentially. And it's like, we didn't need this much information. It's like, granted, it looked cool. It got me to want to watch it, but it's like, now I know what that whole plot scene is for. Like, now I know what the reason the next scene is going to be for. Because like whatever that plot was, obviously is meant to be whatever the main goal is for them to do whatever it is they're going to do. But this trailer didn't do that. Was it a little underwhelming? Yeah. Part of it is probably because I think Carol as a character, because she's a little more, I want to say a little bit more hard edge compared to some of the other characters, because they're obviously not trying to do the whole Tony Stark and the whole Tony Stark or witty, Black Widow type stuff or whatever. She's a pretty stern character. So, and obviously they're trying to stick with that on some level. So I'm thinking it's going to be kind of like one of those things where, she's sort of the more serious one in the room. And I think like everything bouncing off of her around her is like what's going to drive the comedy if they if they do use it, because of her being that type of character. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's going to be a little bit more lightened up or whatever. I'm not saying she's going to be like a stone cold, like heartless person, but I mean, the folks got to understand that like all the characters are different. Like they can't all be the same now. Like, so it's just like, it's gonna be a different take on the character. We see where it goes. I mean, you know, for the most part, Carol is a badass. So it's like, let her be a badass.
LGZ, last words.
I mean, I agree with Fallen Marvel, but you know, we'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. And we'll leave it at that. Let us know what your thoughts were on the Captain Marvel trailer in the comments of the trailer when we post it over here on our Facebook page, or hit us up right here in the chat room. So moving on to the next thing, obviously the other news that came out last week was the cancellation of Daredevil by Netflix. But new reports have been surfacing since the day it came, since the day it was announced to be canceled. I mean, of course, a lot of the fans were very outraged that Marvel got canceled. That Marvel's Daredevil got canceled. Season 3 was absolutely fantastic. Everybody was giving it rave reviews, and then the axe fell. Similar, and I think a lot of people kind of expected it, or they were surprised by it, but they weren't too surprised, seeing as how Luke Cage and Iron Fist both were canceled, I think right before season 3 came out, or a little bit after season 3 came out. I can't remember the exact timing, I forget. But the reports came out, and they've been kind of conflicting. The reports why Luke Cage and Iron Fist season 2 were canceled was because they said viewership dropped, right? Well, a report came out today from Deadline, which is connected to the Hollywood Reporter, which is a very respected industry publication, that at the time of its cancellation, Daredevil was Netflix's 4th highest watched show. So somebody's not telling the truth. And then there's a rumor going around that it was actually Disney that canceled Daredevil and not Netflix. Some people say maybe it was in retaliation for them canceling Luke Cage and Iron Fist. They say, hey, this is the way you're going to play. You can just cancel the rest of them and we'll take them and run with them. So, but to me, them trying to say, oh, well, Daredevil, you know, dropped in viewership numbers is an obvious lie. So why couldn't they just be honest and say, well, due to Disney coming out with their own streaming service, we decided that, you know, it's not in our best interest to continue with this. What's your take on that, LGZ?
Well, I hope that they take everything from Netflix over to the streaming service, to be honest with you, because I mean, I think even what they said with Luke Cage having low viewership and all that, I think that's just downright blatant lies, right? And then I read an article that said that, you know, hey, they're not, you know, the rumor about Disney taking it to their streaming service is not true, and this is going to be the end for these shows. I doubt it. It's just, you know, they are some really good shows on Netflix, and they've had a lot of traction. And if I think people will stop, you know, messing around with the Netflix to go over to the Disney streaming service for these shows because they just were that good. Now I know it's probably just behind the scenes business, and you know everybody's kind of measuring their I won't say the word, but you know, just kind of like a pissing contest, for lack of a better word. And it's messed up because the only people that this hurts are the fans who really love these shows, who watch Netflix, who subscribe just so they can see these types of shows. And it's like, I don't know if Netflix business decision by trying to cancel everything out, you know, just to kind of, you know, hate or whatever. I don't understand why that's going on, but I hope that the Disney streaming service does pick them up, and so that I can watch them and, you know, still go on with the stories, because they were some of Netflix's really, you know,
best shows.
shows.
I mean, the only shows that beat out Daredevil were Stranger Things. It was Stranger Things. It was House of Cards. And I think it was one other show, but they were like some of Netflix's very highest rated shows. I have to pull up the report to see exactly which ones actually did. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that Netflix or that Disney had the power to yank these things away from Netflix, and I definitely disagree with that, because Disney does own the IP, and they can cancel at any time that they wanted to. Netflix simply just ponied up the money to actually produce these things. If Disney says, hey, we don't want to produce anymore with you, it's done. It's dope. It's over. So, there's also some conflicting reports about Disney not liking Netflix's suggestion that they shorten the seasons to 10 episodes apiece, and that's where and honestly, I think that's a lot of muckraking that Netflix might be doing to try and make Disney look like the bad or more of the bad guy, because how dare they take their own properties and put it on their own streaming service. We'll get into that whole thing later. But Fallen Marvel and Daido Kuji, what's your take on this latest development? What do you think?
Basically, because all these different stories have been conflicting, I have 2 words come to mind: damage control. And Netflix, to me, I just feel are really trying to not take the blame for a lot of it, because once again, when they said that viewership was down or whatever, it's like, okay, even if it was, I don't see it being that significantly lower than the previous seasons.
Or like,
the
Fuller
the only one,
House or
like,
something
as
like
far
that.
as, right, like now, like Iron Fist season 2, I could see probably have a bit lower viewership because of how people felt about the first season.
Right.
So, people kind of already had their minds made up. Now, Luke Cage, when that dropped, like, everybody was talking about that for weeks. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even see how anybody said it like nobody was talking about that show. Like,
right.
People, were saying like how like Bushmaster was like currently like the best villain and all that, putting them on the same caliber with Killmonger and all this, that, and the other. It's like, come on, like something, and then now they saying about like the what's the name length and all that. Like, I mean, Netflix is trying not to lose viewers, is what I feel like they are attempting to do, because obviously once 2019 hits sometime or whatever, Disney is going to yank all those movies off of Netflix, and more than likely, because you and I had talked about it briefly in the group or whatever, but it makes sense if they just took those Netflix Marvel properties or whatever and rebranded them on Hulu. Like, that's what the more logical thing to do, because they already said that they're not going to put mature rated content on the Disney service, and why would they? So obviously, next best thing, put it on something that you have majority stock in. Hulu. Makes sense. You already got Cloak and Dagger. You already got Runaways. You already got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on there.
Absolutely.
Just put it all under the same roof.
You know what I think, though? Because if you guys remember, there is a guy whose name I can't remember who controls the television portion of Marvel. And then you have Kevin Feige. And from my understanding, those two didn't get along. And the dummy whose
you're
name
thinking of Ike. You're thinking of Ike Perlmutter, who actually controlled not Marvel Television, but he controlled Marvel Entertainment.
He's a fucking retard. And sorry, I did it again. He's an idiot, because when it's the best interest for the fans to be happy, they give you money. Now, granted, Marvel's been getting money from us regardless of the disagreement between those two. But if my understanding is correctly, everything that's on Netflix is part of Marvel Entertainment, which is the Ike poo-poo head. And a lot of new stuff that's coming from the Disney streaming is going to be the Kevin Feige, because from my understanding, you got the Loki TV show, you got the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, you got the Scarlet Witch TV show, which is all from the actors from the movie doing things that we wish they were doing in the beginning of the whole cinematic universe. Now, there could be a lot of backdoor, not deals, but conversations that have been going on. Netflix could be doing something thinking that they're punishing Disney. Disney people think that they're pulling shows and put it on Disney streaming service. We don't think that's true. I hope, like you said, Fallen Marvel FM, I'm going to say that for short, that they should put it on Hulu, which is, you know, underneath their umbrella. I think they should do that. But I do think that somebody's trying to get underneath somebody else's skin by doing such. Because if you hear that Daredevil was the 4th most popular show, that means people are watching it. And when people are watching something, that means you're making money. And you don't just cancel something you're making money on. That's really dumb. That's like, you know, Apple just goes out, says they're not making any more iPhones. That's like their bread and butter. Because no iPhones, and then nobody will buy anything else that's Apple related because they don't have to be in the Mac universe anymore. And that would be the stupidest thing that anybody would do. So I can't explain what's going on. You know, we had theories beginning that, yeah, to put on a streaming service. I don't think that's happening. Maybe they're restructuring the shows. Maybe they're killing them off. Maybe this has something to do with Avengers and the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, because we don't know what's going to be in store. We keep hearing that certain characters are permanently dead. You heard the report that the director, one of the directors, might have been the brothers that directed the friggin' Avengers, said that Loki is really dead. Well, if Loki's really dead, how's he getting his own TV show? Is it friggin' Adventures before he dies? Or what does the quantum universe or quantumverse have to do with anything? We don't even know any of that yet. So
to kind of answer your question, probably, because the Scarlet Witch and the Vision art is reportedly supposed to take place during that period where they were seeing each other in secret, like between Civil War and Infinity War. Go ahead.
And also, did you just realize what we just said? All the characters that are getting their TV show on the streaming services died.
Are the ones that faded? Yes, the ones that faded.
And that just hit me right there. So
because Bucky and Falcon got a show too.
So something's
going on
that we don't know is happening.
Something's going on. You're right.
After let me ask this: Where is Titans? Where is Titans currently?
Huh? What do you mean?
We're talking about like as far as like on a DC service?
Like they're on the streaming service, right?
Yeah,
it's on DC streams.
And Netflix and internationally whenever like they finally get it, because it's still not on there yet.
Okay.
Wait,
but what are you just like asking like where they like as far as like how they are trying to structure their shows on the streaming service?
No, because someone said that Disney is not going to have like this hard content on their streaming service, and Titans is pretty hardcore. A little bit.
That doesn't matter to them. That doesn't matter to them.
See,
they
don't
like, they don't care.
DC, yeah, Warner Brothers is kind of like not giving two shits about the content. They're just like, hey, it's like everything from rated G to rated R, like it's all here. But it's again, it's DC stuff. It's strictly only DC content. Disney content means just about everything they've ever made since day one. Everything that's under their umbrella. That means Star Wars stuff, their own Disney stuff, the Marvel stuff, the other Lucasfilms stuff like Indiana Jones, and you know all that stuff is like more than likely that stuff is going to be on that Disney service. So like that's going to have way more than offer than just the DC service. It's not to say the DC service is bad in comparison, but it's just like when you look at the two and it's kind of like that's all y'all doing. And like I heard that Warner Brothers is actually trying to come up with like their own too, but I heard like they were supposed to be adding like a tier system to it. Don't think that's a good idea, WB. But you know, it's like obviously Disney is trying to keep a brand as it is or whatever. Like I mean, that's probably why they did this PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. So but you know, once again, Disney has other avenues that they can explore, that they can put their mature rated content on and still connect it with everything else. So again, put it all under the umbrella. Hey, make it work. Marvel Knights.
Hey, that'd be fire. Hey, that'd be dope. Hey, let me get my Ghost Rider show on Hulu, man.
They just and remember, like even on the comic book side, they just released a new volume of Marvel Knights.
Yeah, they did. They did 20th anniversary. Yep, they sure did. So, let's move on to the kind of the other thing, because we're starting to talk about what the next topic was going to be. a lot of fans are angry that they're angry at Disney for even pulling this move. Like, how dare they create their own streaming service to add to all of the other streaming services that are already out there. Now you're gonna make me pay for all this other kind of stuff. You know, Disney is selfish for yanking the Netflix shows away from yanking the Netflix shows away from Netflix and trying to make their own service. Like, they're being too greedy. How dare they do this? I'm like, wait a minute, are you dudes serious? So what I want to ask everybody is the fan anger over the streaming apps justified in any way? I'm gonna turn it over to the businessy type person, LGZ. So what's your take on that?
I don't, with fans are fickle, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's good, if it's great, if it's excellent, if it's crap. Everybody's gonna have an opinion. So I don't necessarily think that the Disney having the streaming services, like, nobody cares. I don't think anybody cares. I think all this hoopla is just kind of like, just hoopla. Folks want to talk just to be heard, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's has anything to do, and I don't think it will definitely any regard.
Yeah, it's all reactionary right now.
As you guys know, that's mainly how the internet is. But my take on it is, I cut the cord many years ago, about 7 or so. Since I've been married, I have not had cable TV, and I've done everything streaming, and I've enjoyed it. But at the same time, because people are seeing it as lucrative, as businesses, they're seeing it as lucrative to have it streaming because Netflix blew up. Hulu is very popular, and whatever other streaming services they have out there. Everybody wants a piece of the action, and I get that from a business perspective. If you're McDonald's, you're not selling your hamburgers at White Castles. You got to go to McDonald's again. That's Disney. Like, you want to see our stuff, you got to come to us. I personally don't want to have a streaming service for everything. That kind of bothers me, because not just the price point, because cutting the freaking cable means nothing if you're still paying $130 cut up in streaming services. It's ridiculous. You got to pick and choose, and I may be dropping HBO pretty soon just because, when Game of Thrones is over, there's not much on HBO that's gonna, keep me there. Mm-hmm. Because movies, I can get movies anywhere. I don't really give a shit. I can Netflix, Hulu, blah, blah, blah. But Disney, they have things that I want. Regardless if, like, DC has their stuff, because DC I do like the Titan show. It's pretty good, but that's not enough to get me. Disney has Star Wars, not just the movies, but they're going to have original showing. They have the Marvel properties, plus the original stuff that may be, that's coming and may be coming. They have, their movies, both old and new. They got their old TV shows, like, i.e., Chippendale Rescue Rangers or DuckTales, or friggin', they have those things. And for me, that's completely worth it. Now, you can groan like, oh, I got to get another streaming service. Like, no, you don't. It's a choice for you. You get the streaming service, don't have streaming service. But they, to me at least, are offering something that you can't get anywhere. It's right here. Disney has so much stuff that I would be able to see. And if they do it the way that I think they should do it, where they pepper in both, if you're going to have your new stuff, great, but don't just have new stuff. I think they should have everything. And being the fact that they're not Netflix and they don't have contracts for it, things should never leave. Because I get sick and tired of having to go, I want to go watch something, and it was there 1 month, the next month is gone. For me, if it's Disney and it's their stuff, and Disney has a lot of movies that's not under the Disney label, as you know, like they have Marvel and whatnot, but even before then, they had Touchstone Films. They got a lot of stuff that belongs underneath that umbrella that I hope that is there. So for me, I could, of course, the internet is going to complain. They complain about every fucking thing. I'm looking forward to it, seriously. And it's cheaper than Netflix.
I love what you said. I love what you said about them putting their old stuff, because there was an argument I kind of had online with someone yesterday. They were saying, it's like, oh well, the Disney streaming service wouldn't be able to have a library that could rival Netflix anyway. I was like, dude, are you serious? I said, if there's if there's any one entity that could have a library that rivals Netflix, it is Disney. These dudes have been making movies for like 70 years. Are you kidding me? They've got a ton of movies. Like one of my favorite old movies from Disney is The Absent-Minded Professor. And I would love to be able to see that on, I would love to be able to see that on the Disney service, like be able to watch that with my kids. You know, like you alluded to, Dido, seeing all the old Disney afternoon shows, Chip and Dale, Darkwing Duck, you know, Darkwing Duck, Gummy Bears, Bonkers, you know, all the old shows that we used to have. Go ahead.
With saying that though, you think that WB should be able to do the exact same thing. And to me, they're not doing it right now. Right now, they're just relying on Titans for people to show up. But they have tons of movies. They have tons of TV shows. They got old stuff. Like when you mistakenly said Freakazoid, that's WB. Animaniacs, you know, Tiny Toons for their old stuff. Batman and the animated adventures of Batman and Robin and all that stuff. They got the stuff. I don't see them doing it. Now, I have a strong feeling.
They separated it between the WB stuff and the DC stuff. So now you got just DC and Warner Brothers trying to start their other WB.
Which is fine. Which is fine to me. Which is fine. Because, I mean, I think a lot of people have done, and I hear what you're saying, Dido, too, about having too many services to pay for. No one said you had to pay for them all in the same month. Exactly. You can, like, literally, you can do month-to-month subscriptions. Like, hey, I want to watch Disney this month. Hey, I want to watch Warner Brothers this month. Hey, I want to watch Universal this month. Hey, I want to watch HBO this month because Game of Thrones is on. And then once you're done, turn it off. No one said you had to keep giving them. Yeah. No one said you had to keep giving them your money. No one said that. You just got to be smart. It's not like cable where they absolutely lock you in like all the time, like a contract. You can just get rid of it when you want to and get it back when you want to again. So I'm just saying, and a lot of people are saying, you know, hey, you know, piracy is probably going to go up. That was going to happen anyway. I mean, let's be real. It's happening right now to Titans.
You know. I'm gonna tell you something. Even because the problem that I have with streaming is because I do stream everything, and we had the conversation beforehand. I was watching Legends of Tomorrow. I watched all of it on Netflix. That's great and that's dandy. And the new season just started. There's 7 episodes in. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this the legal way. CW makes an app. You have to sit through commercials just like it's on TV. That's fine. But these jerk-faced jerks don't have everything on there. Jerks. So when I was ready to watch the new season, guess what was not there? Episode 1 and 2 of this new season is not there. Now, check this out. I looked everywhere to try to find this, and I held my friggin' hand and said, you know what? I am going to not try to download these episodes. Now, I looked at Google. I had some money from surveys that they gave me. I could have bought the 2 episodes for $4 and watched them. But I'm like, look, I don't want to own these episodes forever. Right. I friggin' did the trial for YouTube TV to see if there's going to be there. YouTube TV is just like cable, and they're not there.
Of course not.
I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Am I just gonna? I can continue watching the season and then wait till Netflix comes on to watch season 1 and 2. I mean, not season 1 and 2. Excuse me, episode 1 and 2 of this current season.
Right.
And I'm just like, what the heck am I supposed to do? I have my way, and I'm gonna do it because these guys are messing around. So piracy, I think there's 2 types of people out there. There's people who buy a lot of shit like me, and when they don't have it readily available for when you want it, you're like, you know what, I'm going to find my way. And then there's other people that just don't give a shit. I want to give you guys my money.
Right.
But don't make it hard for me.
Right. LZZ, jump in. We haven't heard from you in a while. Jump in there. What's your comments on anything that we said?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I mean, and I'm not going to subscribe to a bunch of services. I don't just subscribe to any service right now, but I still have access to everything. I'm not pirating or whatever. It's not pirated or whatever. It's just that I have access to
you got the hookup.
Other stuff that I just because I do pay for cable, and it pisses me off that I pay for cable, but I still can't. Like, if I try to catch up with, like, say, Legends of Tomorrow, there's like episodes that I'm not going to be able to access for like another time period whenever they release it on the cable side. Like, so I mean, cable is no better than than the services, really. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have to buy it and what up, like that's dumb, right? I totally agree with that. You know, hey, I'm still watching. I'm about to watch. Actually, my friend and I are gonna watch the latest Titans episode tonight. So, I'm chilling.
I said, do it. They getting paid. They out here complaining. Ain't nobody. All it is somebody's watching. They're not even keeping it. They're just watching and it's gone. It's just like if it was on regular TV, and they already got their ad money. They already got that bullshit. And that's the problem that pisses me off when they, talk about pirating TV shows. These motherfuckers got their ad. But I digress because we're getting way off topic.
Right. So, so honestly, to me, I think a lot of the fan rage, especially about them, Disney daring to take their stuff off of Netflix. I mean, they're saying, yeah, it's within their right, but they shouldn't do it. Why? I mean, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why shouldn't they? What, just to appease you? They're saying, oh, well, they're getting too much money. But it doesn't belong to these other companies. They're just licensing it. I mean, what are you talking about? That's like you're saying, oh, hey, I'm going to create this really great service, but I'm going to go give it to this guy because I don't really need the money. I'm going to let them have it. And they can take half of the profits and maybe half will come to me. Why would you do that? Like, nobody goes into business saying, hey, I'm going to give my stuff away. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. I mean, really. I mean, I understand the sentiment. The free thinking people that think that everything should just be free, and everything should be in the public arena. Able for everybody to consume. That's literally the basis of all piracy. Is that people don't believe that you should be able to make money off of the things that you spent money making. I mean,
yeah. And which is the oxymoron of this,
right?
Because
Right.
It's like, look, if you are gonna do it, it's just like Dido said. We have our ways of watching certain things when we don't necessarily have ready access. But if we like what we are consuming, we will willingly pay our money for it, whether it's movies, music, TV shows, whatever. If you like what you consume, you would be willing to pay money for it. Obviously, if you don't plan on spending any money on it, whatever, why do you feel like you got room to talk? Just be quiet. Like, you're not going to pay money toward it anyway. It's just, this is my thing. It's like, look, if you own something that is under your license or whatever, that you're just lending out to people, it's like, hey, when you feel like something better is gonna work for you, whatever, hey, you don't snatch just like. Was I salty when CW snatched the shows off Hulu? Yeah, but it's like,
they're not on Hulu?
They're not on Hulu.
They're not on Hulu anymore.
On CW,
right? They're on the CW app.
Like,
right.
I was salty when CW snatched their shows off Hulu because I liked the convenience of watching it 24 hours after it aired. But it's whatever. It's like they made their own service. You don't have to pay anything extra for it. You got to sit through ads, but it's like, hey, as long as it works, that's all that matters. I can still watch my shit. So it's like, if it works for them, hey, it's like, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that when CBS decided to do it or whatever. So I still haven't watched Star Trek Discovery. So, it's just, all I'm just saying is that, like, in the context of this, especially with the Disney service, considering everything that they have done over the years that could potentially be on this service, it's like, dude, that's like generation upon generation of stuff that you can watch. Like, if they like, even if they like do something like pretty obscure, which is like, it's like, obviously more than likely they'll probably put the original Disney movies on there. Like, I could see them probably putting, the Johnny Tsunami, the Brinks, the Halloween Town movies or whatever. I could see that. But if they like go obscure and put something on there like Adventures in Wonderland, like, that's gonna sell me. That's gonna completely sell me on it. It's like, they already got too much to really rely on. So it's just, man, please, like, Disney getting their money, fam.
Right. It's just, Unbelievable. But yeah, no, I don't understand the fan. I mean, I guess I do understand it because a lot of
we all understand it.
We understand it. We understand it. We've been
there.
Yeah,
we've all been there. But some of us is matured, and on the internet you don't know who's like. Because if you're somebody who's around our age and you still complaining about this petty ass bullshit, then there's something wrong with you.
It's probably honestly, my as Super Nerd likes to call him, my arch nemesis, and I, when we used to go back and forth, he used to complain about Daredevil being on Netflix, and I was like, dude, it's like he was like, it should be in the movie theater, and I'm like, why should it be in the movie theater when the longer episodic TV show takes more time, develops the character more, fleshes it out better than we've ever seen in any film? Taking it to a movie theater would be a regression. And he was like, well, it should be in the movie theater because not everybody has Netflix. And I was like, oh, you're projecting, because what you're really saying is that you don't have Netflix. You're too poor to pay for Netflix. But wouldn't you say a $15 movie ticket would cover a month's worth of Netflix? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Netflix, I don't even think it's $15.
Sounds really feasible to me. So I'm just saying, some of these people just don't know necessarily how to smartly think about balancing a budget and being able to get everything they need to get in order to satiate their junkie cravings for geek culture. So that's
they
just me.
Want to complain.
Or they just want to complain. Yeah, there is that, and believe me, there's a lot of people that do that. So we're almost, we kind of beat this topic to death, and I want to thank everybody out there for their comments on this topic and these other topics that we've been talking about. We're going to get ready to close the show pretty soon, but one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about as an aside is what's coming up this weekend. What's coming up this weekend is obviously the Elseworlds crossover on the CW. Now, the CW shows, they've probably perfected the art of having this epic, event. They going on I think it's 3 or 4 years running now, where they've done the crossover events, and they've gotten better every single year. I think the first year when they did the Dominator invasion, I think they did it wrong because they made every individual episode like it was a regular episode of the show was in, instead of just having it all blend together. When they did Crisis on Earth X, that was the first example of them actually doing it right. And now it looks like they're doing it even better with Elseworlds, because they're bringing back the Flash from the 90s, played by John Wesley Shipp. They're bringing like you saw the little tease that they had in all the CW shows this week, where it looked like they were teasing like Hawkgirl and Hawkman were dead in the 90s, and the Smallville Green Arrow was a part of Earth 90, where the Flash from the 90s TV show resided. I mean, it was a lot of really cool Easter eggs that they saw, and I just think this thing is gonna be absolutely bananas this week. What are you guys looking forward to the most with this Elseworlds crossover? Fallen Marvel, start with you.
Based on everything you just said just now, I just realized that watching it again, I didn't even pick that up at first with the somewhat of the Smallville Easter eggs or whatever. Like, I didn't even see that. So I'm very much looking forward to this crossover. I think the shows, for the most part, probably with the exception of Legends of Tomorrow this season, have been pretty stellar. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this crossover goes down, because I've enjoyed pretty much the last crossover they did with obviously the Earth X one, and which was really good, and of course this one. I'm definitely looking forward to this. So I don't know, man. Like, just them going the route with like Barry and Oliver switching lives, like that's gonna be an interesting dynamic. So
I totally agree.
That was smart on their part. That was a very good selling point for this crossover. So it's just like, as soon as they dropped that poster for it, I'm like, what is, like, I thought it was like fan made at first, and I was like, oh, this is legit. Like, are you serious? Like, what how, what is going on? So I'm looking forward to seeing that dynamic, seeing how like everything happens with the you know, the '90s Flash, the Monitor, all that kind of stuff. So
the Monitor looks really cool, doesn't he? He looks really really good. LGZ, what are you looking forward to the most?
All of it. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm looking for. So I got to catch up on everything before next week, so I can be all over it.
Well, that's you know, Marcus Smith was actually asking that question, and that's kind of the beauty of this crossover. He was asking, do I need to be caught up on all the shows in order to watch the Elseworlds crossover? And the answer is no, you don't. You can actually watch it self-contained. Like if it's the only thing you watch from the CW this year, it's literally a standalone story. Like I think they're wrapping up a lot of the mid-season stories before they get to this point, and then then they're going to turn it over to this crossover, and it's completely separate from what's going on in the individual seasons. Kind of like a comic book event normally is, where you kind of just take everybody at their base level, you disregard what's going on in their own shows, you throw them together, and then you just have a fun hype time, having the story play out. And that's exactly how this thing is going to go. Like Oliver and Barry just wake up one day. They don't make any mention about what's going on with who's Barry fighting right now, dealing with with Nora coming back to the past and all this other kind of stuff, or dealing with even though Ricardo Diaz is a part of the crossover, they don't mention anything about the struggles that he's been going on with him, that Oliver's going on with him. The Legends aren't a part of the crossover either. So you don't necessarily need to watch anything of the CW shows in order to watch it. So I think that's another good selling point of it. It is more fun though. You're right. And I will say this now, and Fallen Marvel will back me up on this. Those of you that have been sleeping on Supergirl this season, you need to watch it. Like I know a lot. I know it doesn't. I know a lot of people get turned off by a lot of the kind of the pandering that the show does. They've cut out a lot of that. I'm being totally honest. They've cut out a lot of that.
I will say this just to let everybody know, and just to bring up something Hand of Omega said. Like I have tried watching the first three seasons of Supergirl. I stopped halfway through for each and every one of them. Like something always happened and made me stop watching it completely. This season I've watched every episode since the first.
With bated breath. Like looking forward to it.
It's been really good.
Yeah,
it's been really good. And to answer Hand of Omega's question about Black Lightning, the thing is they're trying to keep that show self-contained right now. So I'm thinking with it having kind of a half a first season and they're doing like a full second, like I'm thinking that they're kind of just waiting to kind of bring him in, because like they've already kind of done some name drops here and there in Black Lightning, but they're just trying to keep that on its own right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see next season, but right now they're just keeping it self-contained.
Yeah, I think it might do better as self-contained anyway. Daidokuji, I know you haven't really been catching up with a lot of those shows, but you've seen the trailers. So what are you looking forward to the most? I mean, obviously Batwoman's out there. Lois Lane is going to be introduced. What else are you looking forward to from this crossover? That from what you've
being
seen?
Able to sit on the couch and watch.
Don't forget John Cryer as Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. How's Lenny going? How are you gonna go from being Lenny Luthor to being Lex Luthor? I just don't see that. We're gonna have to see what happens there in the second half of the season, because that's definitely something to be looking forward to. But here's what I'm looking forward to, Fallen Marvel, and this is one thing we didn't talk about. The Black Superman that appears in there is obviously.
Alan Ellis is showing up.
No. I'm sorry. That was I misspoke there. No, not Calvin Ellis. The black suited Superman is obviously Superman Prime, which is the homicidal Superman from that used to be Superboy Prime in the Final Crisis storyline, or Infinite Crisis storyline, excuse me. This guy is Superman unadulterated. Like he's an absolute psychopath. Like he bases all of his decisions on what he thinks they're supposed to be. Like if someone doesn't measure up to how a real hero is supposed to be, he kills them. Like literally, he doesn't pull any punches. He's like uber super strong Superman, and he's not susceptible to the kryptonite, the normal kryptonite either. That's like he has no weaknesses. That's the thing that makes him all messed up. But there's one thing that he is afraid of. flashes. He's afraid of flashes. He hates them, like because they stuck him in the Speed Force. So that's the one thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that whole thing shakes out. I'm looking forward to that.
So it's basically Injustice Superman plus.
Yeah, except for like the Injustice Superman actually kind of had a set of morals that he played with.
Did, but
they were loose. They were loose.
Convenient for him.
Oh yeah, definitely they were. But Superman Prime is just, he's a homicidal maniac. He's a psychopath. Okay. Like literally, gotcha. He is. He's a psychopath. So if you haven't read about Superman Prime before, I definitely would go and check him out. The whole thing with him is kind of fascinating. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Any final words before we get out of here, lady and gentlemen?
I was really looking forward to doing our recasting of the Mario.
You didn't remind me. You didn't remind me. You forgot to remind me.
I hope we hit on this next week because like I got a whole cast. Like I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll have to pencil that in. You know, for maybe next week. But I know next week is gonna be, we're gonna recap the Elseworlds crossover, and I guess we'll do the whole Mario casting film. But you know, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here and let you enjoy the rest of your week. We want to thank everybody for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, please do share it with some of your friends. Our viewership numbers really need to go up. We enjoy doing this show for you guys every week, and we want to spread the love around and keep growing Junkie Nation. So for all of my friends and family here at Culture Junkies, Fallen Marvel, LGZ, and the Great Adakuji, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Later, guys. Later.
Bye.
Take care.